welcome to Visual Recreation, the essential video guide to winning FML each and every week.
That's right.
I'm your local movie buff, Drew.
And I'm Joey, the strategy guy, and this week we're talking Anna, we're talking Child Play, and we're talking Toy Story 4.
You got a friend in me, partner! But before we talk about all those, Joey, I have a question for you, a serious one.
Ask away.
Have you ever asked for a movie that had a model in it that not only had killer looks, but was a killer?
Can't say that I have.
Well, look no further, because Anna premieres this weekend. Now, Anna stars Sasha Luss, Helen Mirren, and Ma's own Luke Evans.
Alright, now this movie was written and directed by Luc Besson, which has given us movies, yeah, you guessed it, like Lucy and Taken.
Now, this movie is premiering in 2,150 theaters. Its long-range forecast is right now stands at $4.5 million, which is a 10% decrease from last week, which last week it was a 17% decrease to $5 million. So this movie is in like a perpetual freefall at this moment.
It just keeps going down. Now, one of the comps we took a look at was
Red Sparrow. Yum.
Yeah, now that opened up in March of 2018 to $17 million in 3,000 theaters.
That's right. Another movie we looked at was Atomic Blonde that opened July of 2017 to $18 million in over 3,300 theaters. Now, both those movies have A-list actresses
that they did
as their leads. With J-Law and Charlize Theron. So we looked at another one, which was The Girl in the Spider's Web, which opened, yes, in November of 2018, so it's a little bit muddied from that. However, that one opened at $7.8 million in over 2,900 theaters. With that PTA, this movie would make $5.7 million, which is way over its long-range forecast at the moment. But what do you think about this one, Joey?
I don't think it's going to be viable for my Fantasy Movie League Cineplex this week, but who knows? It could be a low-end filler. The 4.5, it's not looking good for this movie. It's not on my wish list to see.
Could this be another The Sun is also a star where it just completely tanks and does a supernova?
It could be. It could explode.
Now, for a movie where a toy comes to life, but instead of wanting to be your friend, it wants to kill you. That's right, this is the contemporary reimagining of the 1988 Child's Play.
Yes, Child's Play stars Aubrey Plaza, Brian Tyree Henry, and Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky.
That's right. Now, just to give some behind the scenes and some backstory to some of the people involved in this movie. This movie was written by Tyler Burton Smith, whose only Rotten Tomatoes credit is Child's Play, this movie right here. And this was directed by Lars Klefberg, who has some movie where his movie career stems Child's Play and Polaroid.
Don't know what that is.
Well, if you don't know what Polaroid is, this movie was supposed to premiere the same year of Happy Death Day, the first one. However, it kept on getting pushed back, and then it never saw the silver screen, and it got released this year.
Interesting. Where at?
Online, I guess. I don't know. Somebody leaked it.
Maybe his home theater?
Yeah, maybe he leaked it. An HD version. Like, everybody will see my work.
Okay, well, Child's Play is premiering in over 2,500 theaters with a long-range forecast of $18 million. Now, when looking at some comps to this movie, we took a look at some classics that have been reimagined, like Nightmare on Elm Street, which opened to $33 million in 3,300 theaters in early May of 2010.
That's right, we also looked at Halloween, which opened to $76 million, which was it's a killer in the box office. In about 4,000 theaters in late October of 2018. This is the 8th movie in this Child's Play franchise, right? And unlike the other two comps that we just talked about, this movie had a recent installment as recently as 2017. So there's a lot of recency here. There's a lot of sequelitis, I think, here. As a horror fan, I'm not really looking forward to this. This looks lackluster. The trailer looks trite. I'm gonna go see it regardless opening weekend just because I want to put myself through that pain. But I think this movie could do like 16 million, even lower.
Okay, I can see it doing the high teens as well. I mean, this movie may not look like the classic that everyone loves, but I mean, it's still a horror movie. It's still gonna have people go out and watch it, so I think it's high teens for me. for sure. Now, what's the next movie? I can't wait.
Now, this movie is about toys who come to life, but they want to be your friend, and they're trying to save a spork with pipe cleaners for arms. That's right, we're talking about Toy Story 4.
Yes, Toy Story 4. I'm excited about this one for sure. Now, this movie stars, of course, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Tony Hale as Forky, and the hottest man of 2019 so far, Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom has got to be the coolest name in the Toy Story franchise. But you know what else is cool?
What's that?
Josh Cooley, who directed this film, and he had a hand in bringing us Inside Out.
That is very coolly. Now, theater count for Toy Story 4, we're looking at 4,400 theaters with a Rotten Tomatoes score certified fresh, yes, 100%.
And that's, last time I checked, that was like after 76 reviews. So that's like pretty legit.
Yes, 100%. A legit 100%. Now, the long range forecast for Toy Story 4 is $151 million. What do you think about that?
I think that's pretty big. Now, when looking at comps, we looked at Toy Story 3, which premiered late June of 2010. And that made around $110 million in just over 4,000 theaters. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's in 2010. That was the third movie. I'm sure people were thinking, oh, this is just an end of a franchise. This is an end of a trilogy, and technically it was.
Yeah.
But let's look into some of the more recent Pixar sequels, Joey.
Yes, now the highly anticipated Incredibles 2 came out last year in June, and it made $182 million in just over 4,400 theaters.
Amazing.
Yes.
But here's the dark side of some of the sequels of Pixar. We have Cars 3 that opened in June of 2017, and that opened in 4,200 theaters, and that only made $53 million.
Yes, that's right. Now the next one we looked at is Finding Dory, which opened June 2016 to $135 million in 4,300 theaters.
Yes, now we have to be mindful that The Incredibles 2 and Finding Dory were the direct sequels. They were the second movie in those franchises, and they were highly anticipated. They waited a long time. I don't know if people were necessarily anticipating Toy Story 4. Also, this is the fourth movie in this franchise. It's a well-known franchise, but I think this is going to finally break out of our sequelitis that we've been experiencing this summer in the box office. I think this one could make 151 plus. Emphasis on the plus.
Yes, I definitely agree with the plus. Now, looking at, like you said, Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, highly anticipated. Cars 3, I think, suffered a little bit because of Cars 2, even though it had some great animation sequences in there. But Toy Story 4, it's going to be new and fresh. It's now toys with Bonnie and their experiences there versus with Andy. So things they can do with Toy Story now, I'm sure they got a lot more Toy Story for us in the future. But I'm going to say this movie is going to far exceed 151 million. Toy Story started animation. It started in 1995. It's a big deal. Everyone loves Toy Story. 160 million plus.
Wow, if this makes 160 million plus, we're gonna see sequels from infinity to beyond for Toy Story.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see more videos of us, click right over here.
Right there. And remember,
sometimes you gotta risk it to get that biscuit.